Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 18th of October. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and as always, presented by our title sponsor of everything ZASLOW Show 2.0, Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, I send you to where you're going to get treated like family, just like I was at the very start of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, will get you the money you deserve. If you're dealing with a personal injury from a motorcycle accident, slip and fall, hit and run, whatever it is, you may be saying to yourself, wow, I don't know if I can afford to call Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. What's it going to cost to work with a lawyer? Well, look, you don't owe them anything up front. No upfront fees to get started with a case. You only pay them if they collect compensation on your behalf, so they're incentivized to make sure you get the money that you deserve, and then you agree on a percentage-based fee for their services, all right? Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys will put their knowledge, experience, and resources to work for you. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And of course, hey, we're only a few days away from Week 7 of the NFL season getting going. But also, you got the Major League Baseball League Championship Series happening right now. It's a Texas showdown in the postseason. And BetOnline is your number one source for all your baseball wagering info. With up-to-the-minute stats, news, scores, matchup breakdowns, get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals for your Major League Baseball, for your NFL, the college football. It's at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates, stats, news, and odds. They have everything you need to stay up to speed on each league championship series all the way through the World Series. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Don't forget, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, and you get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Got a fun show planned today. Glad to have you here with us. Got a lot going on. Obviously, like I said, we got Week 7 NFL getting going. Last night, you had the Major League Baseball. You had the Phillies 10-0. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks. A couple more homers for Kyle Schwarber. He's already on track. I mean, you want to talk League Championship Series MVP. Kyle Schwarber looking right at you. 10-0. And by the way, has anybody mentioned how good the crowd is in Philadelphia? I don't know if anyone's noticed. Has anyone mentioned how great the crowd is there in Philadelphia? So the Phillies take a 2-0 series lead. 10-0 last night over the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks look completely overmatched. They were the 6th seed. They were the last wild card team in. And the Phillies right now feel like team of destiny. They got it going. So Game 3 will be tomorrow night in Arizona. Tonight you have Game 3 in Houston, American League Championship Series. In Texas. The first 2 games were in Houston, and the Rangers won those 2. So the series now shifts to Arlington tonight with the Rangers looking to go up 3-0. How about that? So you got the Major League Baseball playoffs going on. But look, and today's Wednesday, so you know how we do. On Wednesdays, we got to tell you, because we're heading into Week 7 of the NFL season. So on Wednesdays, we tell you which teams' fan bases are having good times and which fan bases are going through hard times, Daddy. You know how we do it. But and the Heat, by the way, the Heat are back in action tonight. They're at home against Brooklyn. It's the final preseason home game. The final preseason game overall is this Friday night for Miami. Are they in Houston this Friday? Does that sound right? Is that the final Hold on a second. Everybody settle down. Settle down. Let me check what it is. I want to make sure we get it right. I think Friday, the final preseason game is in Houston, and yes, I am correct. So tonight, Friday, and then the regular season starts a week from tonight here against the Detroit Pistons. Now, tonight, do the Heat get... Are you going to have some of the main guys out there tonight? Look, Jimmy Butler, I can just tell you this. Jimmy Butler is not playing until the regular season gets going. Jimmy Butler does not need to play until the regular season gets started. You know, they're saying he had a dental procedure. I'm sure he did, but does he need to be out until the regular season starts? Probably not. But he doesn't need to play in the preseason. It's obviously a disappointment that Jovic is always hurt and seemingly Jaquez Jr. is still hurt. So you wanted to see those guys in the preseason and you're not getting it. Now, tonight, are you going to get some of the guys who've been sitting out back in the lineup, guys like Josh Richardson, who you'd like to see a little bit? I don't know. So Caleb Martin, will he make his preseason debut tonight? I would say probably not, because yesterday, well, maybe he will, because yesterday, Caleb Martin and Nikola Jovic, they both did participate in practice. I think it was limited. Does that mean we're going to wind up seeing them tonight? I hope so. Butler apparently also practiced yesterday, but I don't think you're going to wind up seeing him. And you don't know for sure what the status is of these guys, because I don't think they have to come out with injury reports in preseason games. But anyway, on Brooklyn's side of things, look, let's be honest. Ben Simmons has looked pretty good this preseason. And we do the whole thing where, Ben Simmons, it's a yearly tradition. We're going into every season. You get Ben Simmons, who posts the workout videos and the jump shots, and he feels great going into the season. Well, he may actually be telling the truth this time, because so far preseason, he has looked good. And that's a major boost for a decent Brooklyn team. What were they, a 6 seed last year? I think it was 6 seed. Yeah, they lost to Philadelphia in the first round. I went to one of those games. I went to game 3 in Brooklyn last year. Sixers and Nets, en route to the Nets sweep. The Sixers sweeping them in 4 games, because I was in Brooklyn there for some business in this past April, late April. Anyway, yeah, that's a big boost for them between Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and Jarrett Allen. That's a major boost for that. No, sorry, Jarrett Allen. They traded over to Cleveland. Who's the big Nick Claxton? Excuse me. And yeah, if you're gonna get the Ben Simmons that you got in Philadelphia, even if he's not taking jump shots, even if he's scared to go to the free throw line, at the very least, the ball handling and the defense, most importantly, that's a big addition for Brooklyn. So maybe we'll see a little bit of Ben Simmons tonight. I'm interested in that. But that's what you got as far as the Heat go tonight. So final preseason game. If you're heading on down there tonight to Kaseya Center, you'll see your favorite little basketball team for the last time before the regular season gets going a week from tonight. Now, main thing I want to get to here this evening. This evening. Why would I say this evening? The main thing I want to get to here this morning, today's show. I want to talk about the Dolphins. And here's where we're going to start. Number one, first of all, I did a lot on it yesterday, a little bit the day before as well. And I'm gonna continue making a point of it on ESPN Radio, because I think it needs to be out there. There are certain local things that I think need to be brought to the attention of the national landscape. Like, this is years ago. So happy for Zach Thomas, right? Zach Thomas was honored at halftime this past weekend for making the Hall of Fame. And all these years on local radio, doing ZASLOW, Rams, and Amber, doing ZASLOW and Amber, I've been on the Zach Thomas Hall of Fame train, because it's bullshit that he had to wait for so long. It's bullshit that he wasn't getting consideration. And eventually there was a momentum that built up and he got in. So I was on that from the get-go. And this is another one that I think now I have an opportunity. I have a little bit of an opportunity to put it on a national platform, being that I'm doing shows on ESPN Radio, and I'm doing actually ESPN Radio Game Day this Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. And I got to start throwing this in there, because I'm tired of hearing about Bill Belichick definitely be the greatest coach of all time. Now, I don't believe he's going to wind up catching Don Shula at this point, but it is still a conversation. He's 29 wins away. I don't know if he's going to win another game this year. He's not going to catch Shula anymore, but it's still a conversation because he's right there behind him, 29 wins away, and that's essentially what it feels like Bill Belichick would be hanging around for these next several years, would be to get that record. But I feel like you have a lot of people who think that, without question, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, and that it's not even a conversation about Shula. And that's bullshit. So I've been talking about that quite a bit over the last couple days. We talked about it a lot yesterday. How if you think Belichick is better than Shula, okay, that's not a ridiculous thing to say. I think Belichick's the most overrated coach ever. I think Shula is the best coach ever. And I definitely think he's better than Belichick. If you missed yesterday on ZASLOW Show 2.0, I put my case out there. But if you think Belichick's better than Shula, that's fine. My problem is to just brush it aside as if it's a foregone conclusion. There's a case to be made for Don Shula. I think a very good case to be made that Shula is the best coach of all time and definitely better than Bill Belichick. So you can go back and listen yesterday. I stated my case, and the judge ruled in my favor with prejudice. I'm a lawyer. But anyway, I'm going to start talking about that on ESPN Radio, maybe starting this weekend on game day. I'm doing game day this Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. with Herm Edwards. How about that? I'm doing it with Herm Edwards, and the timing's perfect because I'm not on at the same time as Dolphin game. Dolphins are doing Sunday Night Football. I'm actually doing ESPN Radio game day the next 3 weekends. The next weekend, I'll be on, and it's like Red Zone on the radio. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've done ESPN Radio Prime Time, which is during the 4 o'clock games. So that's treated like Red Zone as well, but there's not as much happening. There was only 4 games going on at the time. I'm going to be doing game day this weekend. I mean, it's probably 9 or 10 games. 8, 9, 10 games going on at a time. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm going to let it be known about Shula, Belichick. I'm going to ask Herm Edwards about it. So I'm doing the next 3 weeks. This weekend, it's great. Not at the same time as the Dolphins. Next weekend, it is at the same time as the Dolphins, but it's the Patriots. Doesn't matter. Going to take that ass. That team sucks balls. And then the weekend after that, it's actually after the Dolphin game because the Dolphins are in Germany, 9:30 a.m. against the Chiefs. Dolphins are going to win that game. They're going to win that game. So that's going to lead us into our main topic for today. First, though, I'm telling you guys, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services, one of our great sponsors here on ZASLOW Show 2.0. I want to make sure you guys are taken care of the way that I'm taken care of. I don't have to lay awake at night wondering, God forbid something happens to my home. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay for it? Am I covered? I get my homeowner's insurance from Brunt Insurance. I've been with them for about 10 years now. And that's because I get the most comprehensive coverage on my home, and I know I'm getting it at the most affordable rate out there. 954-589-2204. Bruntinsurance.com. Wherever you're calling from. I got ZASLOW Show 2.0 fans all across the state of Florida. I'm huge in Pensacola. All the way from Pensacola down to the Keys, wherever you're calling from. Brunt Insurance has offices all throughout the state, so they know the area you're calling from. Greg Brunt and his team have the expertise and the experience to find the perfect coverage for you. And that includes comprehensive policies on both trailers and motorhomes. Now, maybe you're saying, Zaslow, I also need insurance on my car, my motorcycle, my boat. You're in luck. Brunt Insurance has you covered. 954-589-2204. Bruntinsurance.com. Don't do this on your own. There's a million options out there. It's going to make you crazy. Brunt Insurance specializes in making the confusing crystal clear. Their fully licensed staff helps you every step of the way. 954-589-2204. Bruntinsurance.com. So, real quick, before I get to the Dolphin stuff here. This was a good morning today. You know I'm the ticket ninja. Everybody knows that. That means I get the best seats. I get the passcodes. I laugh in the face of all your pre-sales. I get all the pre-sale codes. You can never lock me out of a pre-sale. And today, tickets for pre-sale, of course, for WWE Royal Rumble went on sale. General on sale is Friday. Pre-sale started today a few hours ago. Or no, less than a few hours ago. 10 a.m. pre-sale started, and you know your boy got in. That's right. My younger son, Jordan, he's going to be so excited. He's going to be so happy when I tell him that I got tickets. It's in St. Pete this year. It's at Tropicana Field. I've never been there. I heard it's a dump. But Royal Rumble, Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, January 27, Saturday night. I've been to Royal Rumble twice. I went, and matter of fact, both Royal Rumbles I went to were for the WWE Championship. I went in 1991 when I was 10. No, I wasn't at the Ric Flair one. No. So they were not both for the championship. I went in 1991. Hulk Hogan won back-to-back. So I was at that one. That was during the Gulf War. Sergeant Slaughter won the championship against Ultimate Warrior. Crazy. Then Hulk Hogan won the Royal Rumble. I was at that one, Miami Arena, 1991. And I went in 2016 when Roman Reigns had to defend the WWE Championship in the Royal Rumble match. My son and I, my older son Corey, we were ringside for that second row right up front. And Triple H won the WWE Championship that night. Great show. But neither of them were in a stadium. Royal Rumble is so huge now. Second biggest show of the year for WWE, right behind WrestleMania. It's always in a stadium now. So it's Tropicana Field, and I got in. It was a little bit of a pain in the ass getting the tickets, but I got in soon enough. We got club seats, club level seats, Tropicana Field. The ring setup is not in the center of the field. It's not like in the center of the outfield. The ring is set up, it looks like, on the pitcher's mound. So all the seats there in the infield, in the stands, in the club level like we are, not bad. You should be able to see. It's not like looking out all the way into the 50-yard line. It's just the pitcher's mound where the ring is going to be set up. So that should be a pretty good setup. I'm excited. The tickets I found to be super affordable. My son's going to be very excited. He's never been to Royal Rumble. It'll be my third time going to Royal Rumble. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited. So anyway, let's get to the Dolphin stuff. And so yesterday on First Take, great show. My colleague, Stephen A. Smith, he's my colleague. I work at ESPN also. I'm ESPN Radio. That's my colleague, Stephen A. Smith. And my colleague, Stephen A. Smith, I'm so tired of this narrative. It's so weird how Tua is consistently treated different from other players. I love that the Dolphins are a national topic every single day. They are. Every day they're talked about, and it's not in an embarrassing fashion the way it was for like the past 10 to 15 years. No, they're talked about every single day because they are a national team once again, because they're a really good team. I don't know they're a great team. I mean, I got them number 2 in my power rankings. I'm not going to put them to number 1 unless they come away with a monster win this weekend in Philadelphia. They're a really good team. I don't know if they're a great team yet, and their quarterback is certainly an MVP candidate. We'll get to that in a second. But Tua is treated different from other star players, or at least just other players in general. And I don't get it, man. Like, is it the Alabama part? Is it and every time we talk about the Dolphins, if Tua stays healthy, you could say that about every single quarterback in the NFL. When you talk about how great the Eagles are, well, Jalen Hurts stays healthy. If you talk about the Chiefs, well, Patrick Mahomes stays healthy. If you talk about the Niners, well, Brock Purdy stays healthy, or McCaffrey. But with the Dolphins, you only hear it with the Dolphins. Every time we talk about how far the Dolphins can go, it's always the caveat, if Tua stays healthy. Yes, Tua has an injury history. But every single player, most notably quarterbacks, are susceptible to being hurt on any given play. But we only talk about it with Tua. Anyway, there is this narrative out there as far as how Tua has gained his success over the last couple years. And I would have thought after such a great season he had last year, his first year with Tyreek Hill, that we were past this stuff. The stuff meaning he's only throwing underneath routes to guys like Hill, to guys like Waddle, and they're doing all the work. That he's not actually doing very much. He's throwing just above. It's all screen passes and bubble passes and slants and all the underneath routes. And he doesn't really have to do that much. I thought we got past all of that. I was wrong, because this was a major topic on First Take yesterday. Here's Stephen A. Smith continuing this very tired, uninformed narrative.
Now, let me tell y'all something right now. I don't know if y'all watching Miami enough. All of these passes, 8 for 19, 20, 30, 40 yards. You just got Tua dipping it 2 yards to him, and he the one taking it to the house. He the one going 20, 30, 40, 50 yards. This brother, and I call him the Dame Dollar of the NFL. I mean, he when he's running for a touchdown, he's waving goodbye to defenders. This is what he's doing before he throws it. But that's after waving goodbye.
You got Stephen A. there, and Shannon Sharp is nodding his head in approval. I mean, I guess no one wants to push back. But so I thought we were past that whole narrative because we saw it for at least half of last season. You know, Tua missed like the last 6 games, whatever it was. And we certainly have a pretty large sample size now through 6 games this year. And the Dolphins being a national team who are getting a ton of attention. Haven't we seen enough to know that narrative was, like there was the narrative about not being able to throw the deep pass. And there's also this narrative that it's all short passes and Tyreek Hill is doing all the work. Like I understand they're making a case for, is Tua MVP of the league? No, Tyreek Hill should be MVP of the league. If you want to say that Tyreek Hill's the MVP of the league, hey, go have at it, man. But can we at least come at it with facts? Because here's the thing. And I wonder what the producers of First Take, the guys who run the B-roll in the background of the host talking and what they're talking about. Because this entire time, with that entire clip that I just played for you, this entire time where Stephen A. is talking about, I don't know if you've been watching the Dolphins, but Tua's not throwing these, not all these passes are 19 yards to Tyreek Hill. They're 2-yard passes, and Tyreek Hill is running the length of the field. Besides that is just, you know that's not true if you are watching the Dolphins. Like Stephen A. is saying there, I don't know if you're watching the Dolphins. Well, if you are watching the Dolphins, not only do you know that's not true, but the funny part is, the producers of the show, what are they saying to themselves while they're playing all these highlights in the background that show we counted at least 5 different deep passes from Tua to Tyreek Hill. And the shorter passes, it was probably 2 of them, that were shown in that clip were touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill on the goal line. Like, are the producers saying, oh shit, this is awkward. We're showing the exact opposite of the point that Stephen A. Smith is trying to make. And then, like, if you're a Dolphin fan and you're watching it, wouldn't you just love, like, don't you want to show Stephen A. Smith? You want to show him those clips that are being played in the background of what he's saying and just be like, what do you think of that? Like, don't you just want to hear what he would say when you, I mean, they're literally playing video evidence showing what Stephen A. Smith is saying is the opposite of what's actually happening. And like I thought we were past that bullshit. I thought we were past that bullshit narrative about Tua. And I've told you this before. And it's ironic because Stephen A. is telling you, I don't know if you've been watching the Dolphins. Stephen A. has definitely not been watching the Dolphins. And I've told you this in the past about Stephen A. Where, yeah, he doesn't watch the games. I mean, obviously, you know, the big games he's watching. But, and how can he possibly watch all the games? He's got to talk about everything. You know, it's impossible. But I've told you this before where I've seen it. I've seen it at Heat playoff games, 10 years ago during the Big 3 era where, yeah, he's in the media room during the game talking to everybody. He's not watching the game. And then he comes out of the room or comes out of the truck and goes to the studio, goes to the setup, and he's got the box score in his hand. And it's why a lot of times you just hear him mention the player's name and mention the stats. He's not watching the games. He's not watching all the games, I should say. And it's just ironic because he starts out there saying, I don't know if you're watching the Dolphins, but Stephen A., you're not watching the Dolphins yourself. And they're literally showing video evidence behind the point that you're trying to make. And it's frustrating. It's okay if you don't think the Dolphins are a great team. It's okay if you don't think Tua should be the MVP of the league, but man, it's just flat out, like, it's factually incorrect. You can have an opinion about whatever you want. You have the right to your opinion, right? You don't have the right to your own facts. And it's just factually incorrect what he's saying there, and that's frustrating. And I had messages sent to me, Zaslow, you see this? Zaslow, you got to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, I plan on talking about it tomorrow because it's really frustrating. But I do want to say, we're so lucky to have Tua. A couple of things, all right? Imagine, like, Brian Flores was trending yesterday. I'm not sure why. And I liked Flores when he was here. I did. I was a fan. And I didn't like it when they got rid of him. But I'm also big enough to be able to raise my hand and say, yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong about Flores. Tough to get along with. Almost ruined our quarterback. I was wrong about Flores. I don't think he was a good head coach. I was mistaken. A good head coach is going to get the best out of all his players, can work with others well, which he couldn't, and can A, recognize great talent, which he didn't with Tua, and B, try and help talent get to a place where they are maximizing their abilities. And he really hurt Tua. Imagine if he was still here and was successful in running off Tua. And then Tua performs like this somewhere else. That would have been a crazy tough pill to swallow. Can you imagine the shit sandwich the Dolphin fan almost had to eat if Flores was successful in running Tua off and Tua is performing at an MVP caliber level someplace else? That would have been the stankest shitburger you've ever ate. That almost happened. Literally almost happened. So we're lucky in that regard. Like, it would have been so Dolphins. And number two, the fact that they didn't fulfill the tank for Tua because he got hurt, coupled with Joe Burrow's emergence, he manages to fall in Miami at number 5. Like, there's a little bit of luck involved when it comes to this kind of stuff. And it feels like, now look back at a couple of things that took place, and it feels like the Dolphins got a little bit lucky. I love Tua. That's my dog. So I guess that's part of what frustrates me when you still have these false narratives. Like, I don't hear as much about Tua with the deep ball. That was a major thing last year. Like, remember before training camp last year and in training camp, you had that video of Tua throwing the deep ball to Tyreek Hill, and like Tyreek Hill had to wait on it. And then everybody got nutty. Oh my God, Tyreek Hill's going to hate playing with Tua. And now you look at Tyreek Hill, and he's having the best season of his career. I think last year was the best season of his career, and now this year, he's looking like he's going to shatter those numbers. Tua's my dog. If you want to make a case for Tyreek Hill as MVP, go right ahead. But it doesn't have to include factually incorrect information about Tua.